Hey guys, Gabe Cordell, your FirePoint. Please hang out for just a second while we go live into Facebook. 1 second here. We'll have everybody introduce themselves once we get it going. All right, here we go. All right. All right, so we've got a couple special guests with us. Should be live on Facebook now. Jacob Stark, who is here at FirePoint, heads up our marketing, our sales team, and a very special guest who I've known for a long time, and hopefully I can call friend for much longer, Mr. Jason Bramblett. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hope you guys are doing great in your part of the world. What airport shall you be monitoring from today?
I am home. I'm actually home this entire week. I don't know how it happened, but I'm home all week. So I'm excited to be here. So
yeah, that's rare air for you, for sure.
Yes, good stuff though. Good. Yeah. That's how we met, right? On the road, masterminding, trying to improve ourselves for the better of our company, our teams, and everything. And Jacob, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I know you've got some special stats on Mr. Jason here because I know he's not going to talk about himself too much. But
yeah, we got to do a little bit of bragging for Jason, right? Yeah, guys. I mean, it's super exciting to have Jason on here. I mean, the guy just crushes it every year. Last year, his team was producing over 48 million in sales, and that's over 240 transactions. So, I mean, this guy knows a thing or two about running a really productive team and how important it is to have the right processes and systems and just simplifying, right?
Yeah. Jason, how long have you been doing this? You've been running a team, like I've known you for a long time, but give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so 21 years in the business, and which is, man, time flies. So with a couple different franchises in the beginning, 2008, when the market crashed, thought what a great time to go out on my own, so we did. And everything was going to chaos, so why not jump in and just, make a splash. So we launched our team, we launched the company in 2008, and it has been exciting. We've had all kinds of different situations happen, but it has been a fun ride. And I'm actually looking forward to the next, 10 years, see what is in store, not only for us, but for the industry. Lots of things changing really, really fast. And, believe it or not, this is so ridiculous. There wasn't even nobody had a website when I started in real estate. Gabe, my CRM was a big pen and a yellow pad, right? There you go. And so we had these amazing technologies called the phone book. And I mean, it was quite, it was quite great. When you really were feeling a little bit, punchy, you go to the yellow pages, you know what I mean? It was something else.
Yellow pages.
Yeah. Exactly.
We'll do a separate webinar to explain that one.
Yeah, that's right. We lost 90% of the people right there. But here's what it taught me, and this is what benefits the team going forward, is now it to me it is so much easier of a business in one regard, the technology, the systems that we have, to make it a simple process to teach and coach the agents we have. Now, it is a busy world and there's lots of distraction. And I think as a team leader, owner, most of the time we're fighting the distractions of our industry more so than we're fighting the tools and or the systems and processes. So there's a lot of disruptions. We have disruptions coming from, venture capital, corporate America. We've created disruptions within our own kind of our own businesses as well, with a lot of different shiny objects out there. We love to go fishing, and we love shiny things. So
no way.
Yeah,
not real estate. No way.
Exactly. So I mean, I can't understand why Visa, Amex, and MasterCard aren't the official sponsors of every real estate webinar, seminar on the planet.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, to be a little fair, right? I mean, how many times as a team leader, as an agent, does our phone ring during the day saying about the new great lead source, the new great tool, or the new great this or that, and all they need is our credit card number, and they can double our business or get us #1 on Google?
Absolutely. Oh, for sure. I saw on LinkedIn actually just this morning. When I was driving in, I saw this guy post. hey, for XYZ, 764% increase in business. And the guy responded and said, man, I'm really looking for stuff north of 800%.
That's nice.
I thought, good for you, man. That was awesome.
Awesome.
You know, good for you. But it is so true. We can get so caught up in these shiny objects, especially for a struggling agent. And at the end of the day, what I have found is the real secret sauce is actually, good old fashioned hard work and using the simple tools that you have. And you need some direction, and that comes from that could come from a leader from above and or owner or team leader. But then also, if you're, self-motivated, self-disciplined, just having an engine like FirePoint to direct you each day, it's really all you need to be successful even on your own.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into this, because I'm guessing. I mean, you're not going to say this, but you're literally one of the most successful, teams, brokerages, agents that I've ever met, and I live on the road, as you already mentioned, and what you've done and how you understand your numbers and run your team, and honestly, value your services and the ability to portray that to your clients is incredible. I mean, you've stumbled along the way, you've had some headaches, which this is about, and I think that's kind of where we want to jump in is, I think we all learn from our mistakes, some faster than others. You're evident of that. I have to make them over and over again before I learn. But share with us, like, some of those headaches. What have you learned? What have you changed over the years where you've learned from your mistakes that has helped you in your business, so that we can help the people who are watching and listening not make the same ones? And before you start, real quick, guys, if you're listening right on the screen, there's a Q&A button. If you guys have questions, please type in the Q&A section versus the chat, because it'll actually alert us to stop talking, and we'll answer those as we're going. So yeah, Jason, tell us, where did you screw up? Where did you screw up? Where were those headaches, and how did you fix them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the biggest traps in business, especially when you're starting out, and this is definitely the road that we went down, it was attempting to be all things to all people within our client base. And so I learned really quick that, well, you have to either have an army, an infantry to be able to do that, or you have to have just unbelievable amount of cash to be able to hire enough bandwidth to do all that for folks. So that was the first mistake in my career, is we went to people and we overpromised and we underdelivered, and we had to fix that quick, right? Fortunately, that we learned that under the guise of a different franchise. So that was my first 10 years. Sorry about all the guinea pigs out there.
Can you give me an example of that? What do you mean though? What can you remember an example?
Well, okay, so 15 years ago, the big thing was fee for service, and so breaking down a menu concept of, we charge XYZ for this, so XYZ for putting a sign in the yard, so much money for getting you on MLS, so much money for pictures. And that's all well and good, and it was a fad in which was started by online basically, and we did our best to adopt that, but that's not who we were. We are basically a boutique high-end company in which you're not coming to us to order off the value menu, okay? You're coming to us to have a great experience, and with that experience, you realize you're going to pay a different price for that. If you go out to eat, you do a decent restaurant, you're going to pay a different price than you are going to, a McDonald's or a Hardee's or a Chick-fil-A or whatever the case may be. The more work you do yourself, right, in that environment, the less that menu price is. And so we fell into a trap of trying to be all things. It kind of got away from the core of who we were. And that was within the franchise. So when I decided to get out, because that's the way the franchise was going, I wanted to move away from that. And so that's when we stepped out on our own, and we just made our own brand. And when we made our own brand, we decided, okay, we can't be all things to all people, but what we can do is give phenomenal, great service and serve people at a very, very high level. When you do that, I find that price is never an issue. When you bring the value and you service people, price never really comes up.
Right. No, I agree.
Jason, was that pretty natural for you? Like really finding that more specific audience? You mentioned, early you're trying to be all things, all people. So you not only focused in on some certain set of tactics and processes, but you also sounds like focused in on a certain part of the market, right? Certain audience. And I'm curious how you steered into that, if it happened more naturally or was a real conscious thought for you guys.
Yeah, Jacob, I think it is a natural thing because I think somebody that is and there's no right business for 100% of everybody, right? I think it is what you're naturally experienced with. I like that concierge, I'm still the guy that I'm not going on Hotwire to book my plane tickets. You know, I use a travel agent. Why? It's not worth the amount of money that I'm going to save for the aggravation. And I just have a problem with not knowing what flipping hotel I'm going to stay at. I'm sorry. I'm willing to pay more, especially in certain cities like, Chicago. So I still will pay more to have the experience of having, someone that I trust and or someone that with experience that I can say, here's what I'm looking for, and they put that package together. That's worth it to me. Okay. Not everybody though, and some people love the hunt. Some people love to piece together the perfect thing. In my hanging around and traveling and speaking of different things, what I have figured out is Warren Buffett, and you study the greats. And what I figured out with Warren Buffett is this: he did not become a billionaire by saving $50 on his hotel. I mean, that was just the bottom line. And what he did though is he leveraged his time and allowed people that he employed to serve him and do things that needed to be done but didn't need to be done by him. And so that is what I'm working to emulate. That is what I'm working to accomplish. And it takes practice, it takes discipline to do that. But that's the change that we've made over the years, is like, this is who we are. We found our identity, if you will, Jacob, if you're going to look for, I guess, the buzzword or term. And we're not perfect for everybody, and that's okay. There's still plenty of people. I mean, we're in a huge campus here. We've got a great office space, and I tell the team sometimes they get a little, they have those limiting beliefs, right, Gabe? And I'll say, look at the parking lot, guys. There's 700 cars out here. Some of them are worth $500, and some of them are worth $100,000. They all got here, but some people chose to get here in a different way, and that's really that's what we're offering. Is we're offering you to get your home sold in a different way. Some people like luxury, and they're willing to pay for that experience. That's what we want to provide.
And a lot of people, anybody who's watching this back, and Jacob, you haven't had the privilege of listening to Jason through the years, like go through his listing presentation, how he does this. Like, I don't even live in his market. I want to go buy a house just so I can list it with Jason. It's building that value, and it's just, yes, I'm going to pay more because I'm getting everything out. The hassle's gone. There's this, there's that. It's literally worth it. And he's been able to do stuff in his listing and his fee structure and how they offer their services like nobody I've ever seen. So clearly you've learned and implemented where most of us fail. And I applaud you for that, because it's just always amazing every time I sit and listen to you talk about how you do that.
Oh, appreciate it, sir. Well, and we still learn every day, and we do not have it perfect. And that's the fun of business, though. I told my team, I said, if everybody said yes, I quit. I mean, what fun's that? That's order taking. I don't want to be an order taker. I mean, I love the challenge of taking someone that has a limited belief and they're not 100% sure if we're the right fit, or even if I need that product. And what I would love to do is to take all the value that we bring together, all the value that we have in our listing presentation, our listing package, and show them that it's an incredible deal because of our leverage, because of our buying power, and to get them all the way to closing. And they look at me and they're like, we are so glad we listened to you. Best experience ever. And, that to me is that makes all the difference in the world. And then they go tell their friends.
Yep, it's awesome.
Jason, I'm curious, because obviously we're talking about, big headaches and how it's often the simple solutions that solve them. So when you started to narrow down and really focus in on that that audience that you're going after, that more boutique, the people who wanted the experience, did you have any little speed bumps where you're kind of like, oh, are we making the right choice here? Or did you have any of those little kind of headaches that made you second guess? And if so, can you explain those and how you got through them?
Yeah, and truthfully, Jacob, most of those were things that I created in my mind. Most business owners, most real estate agents, team leaders, the obstacles that we create are most of them are just made up mystery, because we haven't put the practice in to actually hit the objection. We've created the roadblock before we ever even started, and I got challenged with that in 2008. And that's what we had to push through, was the limiting belief of, I mean, to me it's the same thing of, well, nobody would ever buy a $350,000 Ferrari, right?
So
But they do.
Those limiting beliefs. So, I mean, you're a team lead. You've been building a very successful team. I mean, obviously, this is probably transferred to your team. How do you help your agency that you've been able to overcome this? How do you hand this off to your agents, to your team, so that they can get past that? Because we see it all the time. I think people have those
Yeah.
beliefs before they ever pick one of these up to call a lead. They've already counted themselves out. How are you coaching them through that, or having them level up?
Yeah. So one tool within FirePoint is the recording of calls. This is masterful. One is they can go listen to amazing calls. So we can pull great calls out of FirePoint as teaching pieces. Like you couldn't have took a call and scripted it out any better than this. And we'll capture that, and that's a training call. And we don't have to reduplicate it. And it's not fake. It's a real call to real clients that all team members can learn from. The second thing is we can pull together in a huddle or a team meeting and pull, if we have an agent that's struggling, we can pull their calls. We can listen to them collectively as a group, and really not to rip each other apart, but to help each other, iron sharpens iron, to learn, to look at different ways in which the call could have went by tweaking one little thing, one little difference. The way in which your voice inflection, the way in which you pause, the way in which you do whatever, and practice that to where it becomes, it just becomes a natural thing. So FirePoint has really helped us leverage. The other thing that's really cool about FirePoint, we created we have this library of all these calls, right? Everything's in there. It's all in the system. And guess what? There's teaching, training, and coaching available all the time that they can get to. I don't have to be there. So as the team leader, I can pull these great calls out. I can download them. We can put them in the cloud. And so if Jacob comes to me and he's struggling with something, I'm like, hey, you need to go listen to Gabe and listen to this call he had with this seller and this particular issue. Or he was speaking, speaking to this agent, and this agent may have been, giving them a little trouble, and here's how they handle that.
So you're not even using it just necessarily for calling leads and talking to them, but even with maybe other agents, the negotiations of the contract or whatever, you're using it on both sides.
Absolutely. So
that's interesting.
The great thing about one thing we love about FirePoint is so if I've got a deal going with Jacob, and Jacob, he's been doing this a little longer than me, and he's a little more witty, and he's a little more wise, a little sharp, and he knows how to negotiate differently.
Man, you're stretching this story.
and so what I may want to do is just get on record with Jacob and call Jacob and say, hey, Jacob, this is Jason Bramblett calling you about 123 Main Street. I just want to let you know, for quality and training purposes, the call is recorded. Hey, you would reply back with this, and let's talk about it. Right? What it does is it removes that. If you've been in real estate for 1 minute, you will run into the he said, she said. Salespeople. This has nothing to do with real estate people. This is salespeople. This is an epidemic within the sales, genre, if you will. We are quick to make decisions, quick to speak, slow to document.
Wait, what document that?
Yeah,
What?
I think it's the horse that Tonto used to ride. I don't know, but yeah, it is definitely not in Sales 101. I mean, one of our best practices, I probably say this 100 times a year, it seems like, it's you had this conversation. First question, was it in FirePoint? No. Did you follow the company best practice? No. What is that? Every single conversation of any substance is to be immediately followed up with an email that says, hey, Jacob, thank you for talking to me today. Here is what we talked about, or this is what our agreement was. I want to get that in writing and get it to Jacob before he gets amnesia, which is about 42 seconds, right? The great thing about FirePoint, if I wanted to, if I chose to do this as a buyer agent or a listing agent to help Jacob with his memory, I can take that call and download it and send it to him and say, Jacob, got a little present for you. Here's an audio recording of our call. If you ever have any additional questions, please refer to the recording, right? And so it's an added leverage thing, right? And so it's not that people are dishonest, it's people get busy and they forget. And the other thing is I have Jacob's full attention on this webinar. When I can't see him, this is the power of GoToMeeting, right? And the power of Zoom is I have your full attention. If I couldn't see him, he could be doing anything. He could be chasing the kids around, driving in traffic, whatever. And I don't know that he's paying attention to me. So FirePoint, in my opinion, helps cover some of those blind spots that I can't see what's going on the other end. And the other thing is maybe there's crisis going on in Jacob's world right now. Maybe the broker in charge is yelling at him. He's got a buyer that's mad. He's running late for an appointment. And I call him with something important. And he's like, yeah. And then he hangs up. And he just agreed that, yeah, we're going to give you $5,000. Closing early is no big deal. And the seller will be out. It's real world stuff. It happens.
Yeah. Well, and I love that. It does. And you're on the road. You're going from one spot to an inbound call. When you're using that number, even the inbound, everything's called and automatically put on the lead profile, so you don't have to remember. But what I think I've noticed, Jason, is when you're talking about using it like for coaching, is I don't think people understand how they sound, right? And they're not going to change what they're saying and how they're saying it until they hear it, right? It's just they don't understand the way they're coming across. And it seems like anytime I've ever used this in a one-on-one or with agents, if I sit down with a team doing a deep dive and we play some of those calls, all of a sudden they're like, that's what I sound like? Like they're blown away by it. And it's just, there's such easy things to correct when it's real world situation, because you're not role playing anymore. It's real. That's what happens.
Well, and I think that goes, and that's the point. And this is a valuable thing that we can use during with FirePoint in warm-up session, if you will. Any real estate, any salesperson that walks into the office and jumps on the phone and immediately starts calling their prospect list for the day is probably, I would say, the first 40 dials, you might as well just spoken to the wall. Because you're warming up on your prospects, and which is really a huge mistake. Warm up with a peer, warm up with Jacob, warm up with Gabe, have role play with your peers. And if you can't do that, you can go into a system with FirePoint, and even though I may not role play, listening, hearing the calls, hearing my friends and peers and my coworkers role play through, or listening to their live calls as a role play, is still just as powerful to get you warm up. But you're not going to go play the Super Bowl and just jump on the field, right? But that's what salespeople do every day. And FirePoint is a great tool in which, even if you're by yourself or a 1 or 2 or 3 person team, you don't have to do that. The system's right here for you to jump in and listen and warm up and then start your day. But
Jason, for the teams out there that are getting, either getting their culture going, because what I'm hearing from you is, let me back up a step. What I'm hearing from you is like, this has to almost be a part of the culture of the team, right? Is this warming up and helping each other, listening to each other's calls, being brave enough to let people critique you and all that. And I guess what my question is, for those trying to build a team or change the culture of their team, I would imagine it feels sometimes overwhelming to try to get everyone to buy into that. I mean, what are maybe some of your pointers on how do you get that to happen more consistently outside of just, you know, pounding the table and saying this has to happen, but like really making it a part of the culture?
Yeah, the hard answer to that, hire the wrong people. That's the tough one. So, you know, I mean, and that's a trap within real estate, because independent contractor, and man, everybody gets in the real estate for freedom. And guess what? Typically when you have freedom, you have no money. And because it takes structure, it takes discipline and structure to win at a high level. There's nobody on this planet that is winning. You know, Steve Jobs did not create Apple on a whim. Like every other day, I'm like, I'm going to go to the office. I'm going to think about talking to some programmers, and it'd be really cool. Like he probably didn't, you know, every other week, you know, decide on what should the logo be? Should it be, you know, an apple, a pear, or what? You know what I mean? There was a plan. There was a mission. Think about programming and when you're building out anything, a recipe. Okay. I use this a lot with the team. Like, we've got to gather our ingredients. And here's the thing, if you will gather the ingredients and put them into the pan every single time, you'll end up with this product. But if you substitute one thing, it changes everything, right? And it's the same with our workday. And so it is hiring, you know, if you hire a bunch of free spirits and try to bring order into that, you're going to be by yourself, because they're all going to leave. They're going to be free. They're going to go away. So it really does start with setting the right expectation from the beginning, and that's hiring the right people to fit your culture. You know, now there's 100 different ways to build a real estate company. Can you build a massive, powerful real estate company with free spirits? Absolutely. It just takes a lot of them. You know, if you look at the bigger companies, you'll also see the one thing they all have in common: per agent sale is very low. You know, it's 4 to 8 houses a year. Okay. Whereas within our brand, it's 20 to 26 units average per year, you know, almost 4 times the amount. Is there a right way and a wrong way? No, it's just a different model, different goal. But that culture within our team is, you know, this we want to achieve at a high level. So that's what we're, you know, that's the type of folks that we're attracting. Gabe did say one quick thing that I want to hit back on when you talked about the inbound call. This is another huge win, I think, for the agent, but also for, you know, with FirePoint supplying this. So the cool thing within the system is you have your own unique number. If you advertise that number, if you give it to a client or an agent or whatever they call it, it rings through FirePoint and the call is recorded. So a lot of my agents, when they're, you know, they're doing door knock campaigns, dropping stuff off at clients, restaurants, wherever, whatever they may be doing, the FirePoint number's in there. They get a call coming through the FirePoint system. It's automatically recorded. So if I'm driving down the road, I can go through my script. I can go through every question that I want to ask Gabe or Jacob, and it's recorded. I don't have to pull over, stop, get a pen. You know, I can have a simple conversation driving down the road. The essence of what I need is going to be in that. And when I get to a safe place or back to the office, I can go back and listen to the call and pull the data out that I need. That is huge. I mean, that is a huge time saver, because now I can be focused on just the questions and not, you know, unfortunately, I've seen too many people driving down the road trying to make notes, write things down, you know, all these different things, you know, not a good idea, you know, and you know, if you're a person that is distracted by speaking on the phone and driving, don't do it. Right. So it's kind of like, even though FirePoint will let you, don't do it. If that's you, don't do that.
Thank you for throwing that in. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Also, it sounds like you've been able to do some systems, right? So you've come in, because you talk about this recipe. If you do the same thing over and over, you're going to have the same outcome, right? But start skipping ingredients or doing things. So it sounds like you've kind of gone in and probably taken the time to build campaigns or structure, like have you taken the time to do that, and how has that impacted also the results?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so quality control, right? Consistency. If I've got 15 agents, and agent 1 and agent 15 are bringing different recipes for the same product, that's not the consistency we want within our brand. Well, we don't want that within the message of of our scripts or dialogues or whatever. So with FirePoint, we can deliver some consistency within the campaign, right? So we can do a couple things. The emails, we can, as a brokerage, as an owner, I can dictate what is in those, and I can control what is going out, right? I can set certain tasks in a plan that reminds an agent to follow up on day 3, day 7, day 18, whatever, for an entire year if I want. You've got the tag system within FirePoint, which is really great. What we do is we break it up into week 1, 2, 3, 4 of certain leads, in which we're going to reach these leads in the first week, and we're going to call them however many times we decide to do that.
So you actually put a tag on them that says week 1 or week 2 or week
We
3?
do. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And so this way, and it could be that week 4 is just calling our past clients, thank you, asking for referrals. You bought a house. Is everything okay? How can we serve you? Is there a service, a vendor, or something that, you need that we could reach out and be of assistance? The real money in real estate is actually made after you sell the house, if you plan on doing it for a long time. If you don't plan on doing it for very long, then it's sell by sell by sell, and that's a hard road to beat down every day.
It's not even hard. It's expensive.
Yes,
right?
it
is. That's all.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. But so the systems and the campaigns and all these things that you as an owner have some control, or team leader or coach or whatever it may be. In that also, when you find something that works, and if you find it, maybe we're going to do a test. Maybe I'm going to test something with Jacob, and I'm going to see how it plays out. And I find with Jacob that this test for these particular 2 pieces of the campaign worked phenomenally, just as we planned. Now I can take those 2 pieces and take it out to all 50 of my agents just like that. But I also don't have to implement that campaign. It's not one size fit all. So I don't have to use that campaign for all 50, where we're out there making 100, 50 times 2, hundreds and hundreds of, well, this isn't working. Right. And it's a bad experience. So I like the fact you can test in small batches, but then you can also exponentially push out great product when you find something that's working.
Yeah. So we're about 30 minutes in, but what I'd love for you to share is, you learned this over time, and I've chatted with a lot of people like, well, hey, FirePoint came with a few campaigns. And honestly, they're very basic, general, but everybody's business is different. I'd love for you to share like the difference in before you actually spent the time to build out some of these campaigns, and after, and just like the return on the investment on that. Because I think a lot of people don't take the time to sit down and really like build those out. Like, what made you decide to do it, and what was the difference that you saw?
Well, it's huge. In just with the test, right? With the campaign, it's like, 21 years. So one of the biggest challenges that I have in a day-to-day is I have 21 years of sales experience, real estate knowledge in my brain that Jacob doesn't know. And I've got to be able to communicate it to him, right? And so what I have found is that a good learning curve and or a good process of duplication is to create these campaigns and these systems within FirePoint, so that he hopefully in a shorter amount of time. In 21 years, I don't want Jacob saying, well, I got it, right? No, I want him to learn it much quicker, right? And so to learn from my mistakes, my faults, all the things that I've done, all the brick walls that I've hit, if I can eliminate them out of Jacob's career path, I can get him on the right track quicker to making more money, having more free time, whatever it is. But again, it goes back to consistency. If I have a specific, consistent method in which I know, for us, it's this: we believe that you have to reach out to somebody between 9 and 12 times to get them on the phone before anything even happens.
Wait. I'm gonna back you up again. How many? What?
Between 9 and 12. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? So our company standard is 17. You cannot ditch a lead. You cannot get rid of somebody. You cannot give up on somebody until you've at least proven that you've attempted to reach them 17 times.
Can it be a drip email that has 17 emails that go out automatically?
No.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, okay, no problem. What's email? Uh,
Yeah. I
so,
don't know. I learned about it in the yellow pages.
yeah, right, exactly. Email is, here's my opinion. I hate email, okay? So it is lazy. And okay, here's the thing with email. You sent me 17 emails, okay? That's your follow-up program, right? You with me?
Yep.
I didn't get any of them. You still following up? Nope. You can't. There was no follow-up. Your emails are sitting in my spam file. But you know who followed up? Jacob followed up. Jacob picked up the phone and he tried to serve me and he asked me what I was looking for. And guess what? Actually, Jacob only did 2 actions. He called once and didn't get me, called a second time and got me on the phone. And Gabe was over there just wearing his keyboard out 17 whole time. and guess what Gabe got? Nothing, right? And so, this is a human contact business, right? We've got nobody's buying anything over email, very little, maybe a widget that somebody sent you on Amazon, but you're not buying your most expensive asset in your life, your house, through an email. Maybe 1 in 10 million will. But and the other thing too, I think the phone call, the reaching out, the text message, whatever it is, it's just more personal. I mean, it just shows you care. Email doesn't show me you care. Email shows me that, you might have thought about me.
Yep. No, I agree. And I love that you said 17 times. I mean, again, anybody watching this, listening, like I've met with so many teams across the country, and like when they ask me about you, or if you come up in conversation, I'm like, first of all, one of the most humble people I know, but he runs the tightest, most profitable real estate team that I've ever known. It's just, you've kept it simple, focused on what works. And I think people are always chasing, and because whatever recipes you have are turning out, the best product that's out there. And I love that you said the 17 calls, because I mean, I think most agents were lucky to get them to make 1, let alone 2. And the fact that you're not giving up until 17, and your average agent is closing 20 plus homes is proof enough that works.
I have heard, I don't have this proven, but I believe it's probably pretty close in our industry. This is sales in general. Only about 13 to 15% of salespeople make a second call.
I've heard the same thing. And
Yeah.
I got a question that came in from Mr. Chris Snow for you. Do you find text messages get a better response than phone? And also, of the 17 contact period, phone call period, how many voicemails are you having your agents leave during those 17 calls?
Oh, so buddy. Okay, Chris, you're gonna hate me for this one. So all of them, every single call. And so this is not widely taught in our industry. Don't leave a message, because then they'll block your number. Here's what I figured out. They're going to block your flipping number no matter what. Whether I tell them who I am or I don't tell them who I am, they're going to block the number. So this is a little bit generational. So old people 40 and older. So you're old if
Whoa.
you're
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I just threw you in there under the bus. But so 40 and over, if you don't leave me a voicemail, I will never, ever, ever call you back. Because when you didn't leave me a message, it said whatever you had to say wasn't important. Now, our younger generation folks, I'm finding that you could leave them a message, they will never, ever hear it, because they don't listen to voicemail and they just call back. And so it's an in-between, Chris. And so I always leave a message, and it's to identify myself and to tell them what I'm calling about. Half of the people aren't going to listen to the message, and they're going to call back anyway. The other half are going to at least hear the message here's one of the best scripts I can give you in leaving a message is this. It's Monday morning and it's expired. Hey, Jacob, this is Jason Bramblett. I just happen to notice your house expired. Do me a favor. Do not sign a listing agreement with any company. We're going to do a test. Today's Monday. I called you. On Friday, I want to see who's the last man standing. And on Friday, hire that person. And I'm going to call him every single day. I may get him on the phone. I may just be leaving a voicemail. But here's what I know. Listen, think about this, guys. Only 13% of the agents are going to call past Tuesday. And how many are going to call past Thursday? You're looking at
awesome.
Me. I'm the only guy. And so
awesome.
If I get Jacob on the phone, the only thing I'm going to ask you, Mr. Stark, is this. Could I have just do this with me? Don't make a decision, because this is a huge, big deal, right? I know you want to get your house back on the market as fast as you can. Do me this favor. Let's talk on Friday, and let's see how many people were willing to earn your business this week by doing diligence every single day. Because we do have a sales process for your house. Just like I'm going to call you every single day with a system and a process, we do the same thing for anybody looking to buy your home. Most people call on Monday and they say, hey, and if you change your mind or you think about listing, give me a call. Yeah. Or even better, you're relocating in from Colorado, right? And Gabe calls, he says, hey, yeah, we're going to relocate to Greensboro, North Carolina, because it's flipping awesome, right? It's the place. We're the southern sweet spot to be in North Carolina. And he says, hey, I'm going to move there in 2 years. And most real estate agents will reply back and say, great. When you get closer, give me a call. And if Gabe was smart, he'd be like, yeah, I'm not calling you because you won't be in business, right?
Yep. Made it all about them.
You've got to shift your thinking. So here's what FirePoint can do for you. I now have earned the exclusivity, the privilege of knowing his game plan. And now I have 24 months to build the best relationship I can. So when Gabe thinks real estate, there's only one person he thinks of. That's me, because I don't ever want him calling anybody else, right? FirePoint will let me build that campaign. I can set it and forget it. I will forget I even talked with Gabe, but on my campaign, my program, in 30 days from now, it's going to pop up. Call Gabe Cordova, possible relocation in 2021 to Greensboro, right? And it's there. My notes are there. I can pick up the phone and just like we just talked yesterday.
It's all there. You can listen to it. So I'm going to move. There's another question that came in. I want your answer, but then I want a chance to chime in on this one because it's one of my soapboxes. Another question came in. Do you utilize slide dial or text messages? I'm guessing in your follow-up in the 17.
Okay. In the follow-up, we do not use slide dial. I do use slide dial. I use slide dial to give real estate agents sometimes that I don't necessarily want to have a 14-hour conversation with a nice little bullet point message in some direction. For clients, I do not. Text messages, absolutely, yes, we do have that built in. I mean, slide dial is a tool in which I don't have any issue with it. It has a purpose. But here's the thing, you got to ask yourself, if you're doing slide dial, is it to just, hit the masses and maybe you're doing slide broadcast. You're going to dump 100 messages on 100 people. Okay, that's one thing. If I'm doing it on an individual level and I'm slide dialing Jacob, the real question I got to ask myself is, why don't I want to talk to him?
Yes.
Right?
Drives me crazy. The whole point is to get somebody on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, what is Jacob going to buy a $400,000 house between slide dials with me? Come on, back and forth. No way.
That's my biggest frustration. Is that it's putting the follow-up and the conversion back on Jacob, right? Like I'm all for it. You're going to have a client event. You want to just remind them that it's coming up this weekend at X time. I'm all for it, right? There's a time and a place, but we're talking lead conversion, guys. You want to get them on the phone, right? NAR released not too long ago, 82, 83, right? 80 some percent of the people are going to buy or sell with the first person that they talk to, right?
Yeah.
Yet we're just going to leave a voicemail. When it
Yeah.
comes to lead conversion, the whole point's to get them on the phone. And then it drives me crazy because I'm hearing it a lot at shows about automate. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch you automate yourself right out of business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, and so, that statistic, absolutely, it's deplorable. It drives me nuts. Here I am. I've been doing this for 21 years. I mean, that's a lot of abuse. If you've not been in sales for 21 years, I mean, man, I've been through it. Jacob just got his license last week. He can't even spell escrow. Okay? Jacob gets in front of Gabe before I do. Statistically, he actually has a better chance with no experience converting Gabe because he got there first than I do with experience.
But define get there. That wasn't sent me a text or an email.
No, that was face to face or on the phone conversation and it's got to be of conversation of substance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's one other little quick nugget for FirePoint. Go back and listen. So the money's in the follow-up, okay? Here's how most of your follow-up calls sound like. Hey, this is Jason Bramblett. Jacob, just following up with you, seeing how the home search is going. Let me know if I can be of any service. And then I call back next week. Hey, Jacob, Jason Bramblett again, just following up with, it's the same message.
Yeah.
You need to be creative. You need to be unique. I have to stand out. I need to call Jacob and say, hey, Jacob, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I think the house you inquired on burnt to the ground. We're going to have to start over. Give me a call. Is it different? Am I going to stand out? He's going to be like, what house? I've been on every website in the world. I've got like 17,000 real estate agents calling me, right? Because I've been on all of them.
Yep.
You've got to be unique. You've got to be different.
Yep.
Go back. This is where FirePoint is. This one thing, this one feature, this call record will pay. I mean, it will 10, 20x the cost, the investment you're making in FirePoint. Go back and listen to your calls. Are you intentional? Are you unique? Are you creative? Are you memorable? If you're none of those things, then that's why your phone's not ringing.
Yep. I love it. In fact, I was just Tom had played a recording for me the other day with someone. I was on a Zillow, and Zillow leads, as everybody knows, are insanely expensive. And I don't know if she was shocked that she got him on the phone, but it was basically like, oh, hey, Jacob, yeah, so-and-so here at Core Group. Hey, just wanted to thank you for reaching out. And if you have any, and this is a live answer, not a voicemail. And if you have any questions, I'm always here. I'll shoot you an email with my phone number. So I hope you have a great day. Like, she got him on the phone, and I don't know if she's just not used to it or not listening. And it's just like, you've got to play that at the office meeting. And it's just one of those examples. People aren't, they're not either following LP Papa or Mama or whatever they're doing. They don't have, a structure to the call. And then if they're not listening to it, I mean, it's a game changer.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. So all these systems, all these little, look, I mean, this is why, think about this. Every single play in a football game is designed to score a touchdown. They do not have a play that says, this is the play we're going to run to get 5 yards. It doesn't exist. This is the pass we're going to play. It's like, I'm going to tell, whoever, Jacob's my wide receiver. Okay, Jacob, this is our 17-yard pass. So do not go past 17 yards. No. But that's kind of how we treat our business sometimes. It's like, well, this is some kind of sort of see what happens text. And this is maybe they'll call me back voicemail. And this is the haphazardly, oh, I'm going to do a drop by. It's like, hey, how you doing? I was in the area. No, how about this? I came over here specifically to see you. Is that different than, hey, I just happened to be in the area? Happen to be in the area is not for me. Happen to be in the area is for you. Yep. I drove here to see you, Jacob. That's different.
I love that you say. I love it. We haven't chatted about this, but something I've been talking about a lot on the road right now is understanding the journey, and it's the client's journey, not our journey. Like, where are they
Yeah,
in the process? You know, are they? Was it a forced registration or a cycle? Like, but think about where are they in their journey, and then make the process about them. It's their
yeah,
journey, not ours. Right? Everything we ask, everything we say, make it about
right,
them, because like you said, everybody else is, oh, you're 2 years out, perfect, let me know when it's closer, or oh, you have this, or you know, whatever it is, it's all putting it back on them. And it's like,
right.
we've got the tools in the system to just, you know, set it up to tee us up just to make the phone calls and do the, you know, the follow-up to knock it out of the park.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, we literally we're 50 minutes in. One, I mean, you already gave us, I mean, the expired nugget. So if anybody tuned in late, you better rewatch this and go back and listen to his expired script. I'm totally ripping you off and using that in our office and possibly on stage, and I'm not giving you any credit.
Not a
Um,
problem.
but so I mean, teams, we're seeing more and more teams form, right? Whether it's agents leaving teams or whatever it is. And I think, you know, I honestly think in the next 4 or 5 years, you're either going to be on a team, running a team, or probably out of business. I just think it's too hard to compete. It's just how everything's going. But leave a Jason Bramblett nugget. Somebody starting a team. You've got the 21 years. You've done this. You've made mistakes like I have. What's the nugget to leave them with if they're just starting to put them on the right path?
Yeah. Well, one, lead by example. Key number one thing, right? And then even if you're not in the trenches day to day, and most of us aren't anymore, you can take the day to day, but put it into a system to make it duplicatable, easy to access. You know, if you're running the team, you're getting pulled in a lot of different directions. But we have these tools. They have these amazing tools. So utilize FirePoint, utilize the call record feature, utilize the fact that you can download those and store them in the cloud, utilize that leverage. And then, you know, for team members, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for people that are hungry. You know, I'm looking for people that are looking for the data. I had a gentleman we just hired. He was in insurance. He's like, look, I want everything. I want to, you know, I'm going to study. I'm going to, you know, watch videos. Where can I go? What scripts? What, you know, he's asking me, he goes, you got any CDs? I'm like, dude, I have cassette tapes. What are you talking about? You know, it's like, I don't even know what that is. Right. So, but anyway, set up a duplicatable system that it's just plug and play and then monitor the results. Think about the coach. The coach is on the sideline. He's letting the team do the work, but he is also there to correct and guide. And that's what you've got to do. So many people start teams and they just take their hands off like, oh, okay, well, we'll see what happens. You're going to get crushed. That's what's going to happen. Or you're going to be back to a team of one. People want they want to be coached, they want to be guided, they want to succeed, and they don't have any problem sharing that ride with someone, especially someone that's been there and kind of been through it and done it, right? So but you can't just hire bodies to hire bodies. You do have to get the right people. Gabe started off the call, or Jacob did, with culture. Culture is huge. I said, one of the things I said in the beginning was probably hired the wrong people. It's just the reality of the truth. If you hire people that don't want to be structured and don't want to be disciplined, and you attempt to fold them into your team model, it's not going to be a very fun place to be, right? So make sure you're getting the right people in the right seats is key. But man, you don't need to be out there recreating the wheel. There's lots of great tools out there. You know, we love FirePoint. I love FirePoint. It's simple. We've used a lot of CRMs. We've used almost all of them at one point in time. We've stuck with FirePoint. I don't even know what year we're on now with the company, but it's simple, and that's what we like. There's so many learning curves in real estate. If I can make this one easy as an owner, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I love too what you said too. I think is lead by example. You know, especially if we're really talking about those people starting the teams, right? You can't be 100% hands off right off the bat. You're still going to be listing or showing property or whatever. And what I love is take those call recordings. If you are the team lead, play those, right? I think as soon as you can be vulnerable and sort of like, you know what, here's a call, I totally fumbled this. this is terrible. Here, how I think it's a great way of leading by example to show like, I'm sharing this. I want to share this so you guys don't make the same mistake. And here's how I've gone. So I love that, lead by example and keep it simple. So
Yes, sir.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Anything that you have, Jacob? Any words of wisdom?
You guys hit so many different areas there. That was awesome. And yeah, Jason, thanks so much for carving out the time. You know, that experience, that 21 years, it just it shines when you start talking about, you know, just some of the headaches and how you've solved and everything. And again, just thank you for sharing that.
Well, fortunately, I still got enough hair. All my battle scars are hidden. But no, look, anytime you reach out to, you know, Gabe, Jacob, me, you find us on social media, whatever, if we can help, if I can assist, and I know these two guys, they're the same way. You know, look, we're here to help. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. If you're struggling, if you're not getting the assistance you need, there are tools out there. There are people that can help guide you. Just, you got to raise your hand.
Yep, absolutely. Love it, man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Take care. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.